bright moonlight, you are my sun. A LadyNoir, Miraculous Ladybug, month-long fanfiction, day 21. Roommates. She's been stuck in her room for 4 hours at this point. At this point, she's given up. She sighs and slams her head against her desk. As much as she's always been a dramatic person, this entire thing is awful. University and trying to apply and find scholarships is one of the most exhausting tasks that she's ever had to do. And she once ran after an Akuma for 3 hours straight to 2 towns over and out of Paris. She looks out the window to see the sun setting. Anxiously, she wants the moon to come so that she can leave her house and go see LadyNoir. Never in a million years did she ever think she'd be waiting for the late hour when she got to leave and lose sleep. As warm as her bed is, and as much as all her teachers will despise her for being late, in some way, it's so worth it. It's so worth it to see his smile, or hug him, or make him laugh. It's cheesy, but God, life is so much better now with him in it as her boyfriend. Hi, honey. Are you going to head to sleep? Her mother asks. Here's the worst part of it all. Lying to her parents. Yeah, I will soon, she tells her. Her mom nods and closes the trap door, leaving her in silence and the low-key stress of doing applications again. She runs a hand through her hair, sighing deeply. For once, her black hair isn't in its iconic pigtails and instead free-flowing around her shoulders. It's tangled slightly and almost wavy because she had just taken a shower and didn't bother to brush it. She checks the clock again. 1 more hour to go. She just can't wait to see LadyNoir. It's like time decided to slow to a crawl for an hour just to torture her, but eventually the clock strikes 11:30 and she rushes off of the balcony. Honestly, Tiki spent the last 20 minutes teasing her until her face turns red, so her hair is still loose and not out of her face. It's honest to God awful, and Ladybug makes a mental note to never again let her hair go untied when trying to zip through Paris. She swore she rinsed out all the shampoo, but when it got caught in her mouth for just a second, that sweet strawberry scent didn't taste as sweet as one would think it should. When Ladybug lands in front of the statue, she's the only one there for the first time in a long time. Lately, Shot's been there before her, and there's this triumphant feeling in her chest when she digs into the ground with a random stick to trace the heart in the dirt. She's missed being able to tease him on his punctuality with, his recent early bird tendencies. I win. That's the first thing she tells him when he lands on both feet in front of her face. LadyNoir blinks at her before her words process through his brain, and he sticks his tongue out at her like a child. I got here before you, so now I'm not the late one again, she announces. Shot laughs like a maniac. You haven't ever been the late one, he points out. True, but lately you've been getting here before me for the past few weeks, Ladybug says. So now I win. Shot stares at her, grabs her hand, squeezing it with a chuckle bursting from his mouth. Ladybug frowns at him in confusion. That logic is a bit weird. How competitive are you? He asks. Ladybug scoffs. Not that competitive, she insists. She is. Actually, she has always been fairly competitive, especially in video games. Growing up playing with her father meant that she always wanted to win, and be the number one on the leaderboard every single time. It ended up leading over to other activities too. Sports, music, designing, even the amount of items she has. Example, pencils in her container back when she was a kid. For the most part, she's outgrown all of this kiddish stuff, but it's not all gone. When her competitive streak gets hit, it comes out in full force. Not that she'll ever admit that. Yes, you are, Shot laughs, seeing right through her charade. No, I'm not, she continues. You're being competitive about this, the conversation, and the getting here on time / early, Shot says. She doesn't say anything because there is no way she can honestly refute it. Instead, she grabs his hand and begins walking, much to his amusement. She knows that she didn't win the argument and just wants to avoid it, and he knows that as well. Thankfully, he doesn't say anything about it. As they walk through the paths, she notices things that she's never really paid attention to before. Or at least, she notices all of the things that she hasn't really looked at in a really long time. Namely, all of the places she liked to be at or play at as a kid. There's that old playground that isn't used so often now because there are newer and cooler and prettier ones, but it used to be the highlight of her Saturdays when her parents took her to it. There's that little fountain by the college school that she thought was just the coolest thing ever until she actually got to college and realized that it wasn't that impressive. And then, of course, there is the big billboard that used to show off Gabriel Agreste's amazing designs and kickstarted her love of fashion in the first place. God, all of those places are what created the person she is now. And now that chapter of her life is closing, and she's going to really grow up and leave because some of the best schools for her major are farther out of the area. Some even in the United States, and it's all happening so fast, and it's all changing, and all that is rushing at her face, and it's all applications and new schools and new changes and new things to figure out and a whole new life to learn how to live. You seem a little stressed, Shot notes. Ladybug pauses for a second. She knows that he knows her better than she knows herself, but God, how did he notice that freak out? What's up? He asks with genuine interest. Ladybug smiles at him a bit. It makes her feel a nice sort of way from the knowledge that he cares about her. She's always known that he cares, but it's the principle of the matter. It's nothing, school, university, applications, that whole thing, Ladybug admits. Shot clicks his tongue. Oh, you too? Yeah. It's all great and all, but it's kind of scary and definitely overwhelming, she admits. And a lot of work. I have to write so many essays for applications, I can't ever add on to the fact that I'm Ladybug, and that's why I don't do anything else with my life. That's how I felt, Shot points and laughs. I just finished one of 7, and I was like, wow, I do nothing but run around the city in a leather catsuit, he jokes. Well, when you put it like that, we just sound like odd cosplayers. Ladybug laughs. The best. But yeah, Shot says, it's a huge change. It's a lot. His demeanor changes, and she can tell that there is now something on his mind that he should really talk about but doesn't want to say. It happens a lot. Actually, Shot will say something think of something else and then refuse to talk about it because it might disturb her life. He's honestly selfless to a fault, especially when it comes to her. And she wonders if he knows it. "Hey," she says, putting a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Why don't we talk about what's on your mind?" LadyNoir gives her a sharp smile. "I applied to some schools. They're in the United States," he admits. Ladybug blinks. "Oh, you did?" "Yeah," he looks sheepish. I don't have the best relationship with my family." Okay, so Ladybug is well aware of that fact, and it just breaks her heart. She has no idea why Shot's family doesn't completely adore him, or at least the version of him that they see. She's never heard a real story. Of course, they still have to keep secret identities, but she's heard enough to be a little bitter about them and their treatment of him. And I kind of wanted to go somewhere where it's not all drenched in the memory of them. He looks far off into the distance. I want to start a new chapter of my life, somewhere different and happier in a way. Maybe in a dorm with some annoying roommates and new friends and classes and all of that normal but happy stuff. I don't think we're pretty normal, but maybe it'd be nice to get some of that normalcy, he tells her. Shot sighs. "But it's kind of selfish. I know. I have to be here to protect Paris with you, and of course to be with you." Ladybug shakes her head, but it is in no way in a sad way. "That's not selfish," she tells him honestly. "You've told me. I may be important to the city, but I don't have to bear its entire weight. We can leave and the city will still survive. It will take it time to assimilate to it, but it'll work. You can want some normalcy as much as I do." "And what about us? What about when we graduate? And if I maybe might possibly leave?" Shot asks her. His eyes are wide and innocent. She only smiles and kisses him gently. "Then we'll text and call and stay in touch until you graduate, and then we'll find a place to live and be together for the rest of our lives." Ladybug isn't sure if it's the words or the kiss that makes Shot smile and nod and look a lot less worried and guilty. But it doesn't matter, because he just kisses her again and smiles and points to a little tree that looks like it's about to fall over with the weight of a single apple and laughs.